Oh, welcome to the Redmen TV. Liverpool been beaten and are knocked out of the FA Cup. Wolves beat them by 2-1. To be honest with you, that was one of the most pathetic performances I've seen in such a long time. That first 45 minutes was terrible. It was as bad as you're going to get from a Liverpool side managed by Klopp. And, you know, I think Jurgen has to take some of the blame for that one. I think the side that he put out, we'll never know, I suppose, because it was about 4 minutes in when Dejan Lovren goes down with an injury, and it looked like a hamstring injury, something like that, and that actually changed the entire complexion of the game, didn't it? Because, you know, you have to bring a young kid on in Hoover who's 16 years old, you play him centre back, you got Camacho alongside him, with Fabinho, who's a defensive midfielder. Then on the left hand side there's Moreno, and the problem for me first half, it wasn't that those lads weren't good enough players. The problem for me was that James Milner was dropping so deep. He was almost like an auxiliary centre back or something, and I didn't feel like we were able to build out from the back. It was like there wasn't trust there for me, you know, and I don't know whether that's James or whether that was tactics or something like that, but it just felt like we needed to put a little bit more trust into Hoover to be able to give him the space to go on and actually do something and prove something. You know, their goal comes from Fabinho diving in, and then Milner probably makes the wrong decision, tries to get goal side of his man. He probably should have engaged the ball. Simon Mignolet then doesn't come off his line at all, and Raul Jimenez scores a goal. But, you know, the theme of that first half continued for me. Milner dropping too deep and being on Hoover's toes and on Fabinho's toes, and it wasn't until the second half where Divock Origi actually gets that goal where James Milner moves a little bit further forward, and I thought it was a noticeable change that Milner was 10-15 yards further up the pitch, and that allowed us to actually utilise the midfield, because Naby Keita on his own in that midfield couldn't do it first half with Milner dropping so deep. You know, poor performances all round though. I think, you know, I wasn't impressed with Hoover. He had that one run second half where he looked absolutely class, and he did probably grow into the game a little bit, but such a hard game to come into. You're probably not expecting to get on the field there, are you? You've probably been brought to Molineux Stadium to join up with the first team and just get that experience, and then 4 minutes into the game you're thrown in there, you haven't had a proper warm-up, and you're just expected to get going, and that's a hard place to go, so I'm not going to dig him out too much for that. I thought Rafa Camacho was okay alongside him. The player who I actually thought we missed more than pretty much anybody was Andy Robertson. And we didn't have an outlet down that left-hand side. You know, Moreno tried a little bit more second half when Mo Salah and Roberto Firmino comes on, but it was noticeable to me that we massively missed Andy Robertson. I didn't think the midfield really worked. I thought Origi and Sturridge, they were going for headers and stuff, and you're like, go for it though, you know what I mean? It's not just like, I'm gonna fake attempt going for the ball. Like, you've got to actually go and get it. Divock Origi is a handful when he gets into dangerous areas. He just didn't do it often enough, and it wasn't until the introduction of Mo Salah and Roberto Firmino when we actually started to play the ball forwards, and we started to play with a little bit of pace and a little bit of dynamism, and we started to hit the ball onto the wings and try and get the ball into feet in the box and stuff, and then we put them under a little bit of pressure. But that Ruben Neves goal, that's a killer. That you got all that hope from going 1-1. The two lads are about to come on, you can see them warming up, and Neves scores, and you're just thinking, what a finish that is. I mean, where we were, it was the complete other end of the ground, but it was going in from the moment it left his boot. The dip, the swerve, Mignolet had absolutely no chance. It was a poor performance from Liverpool, one that we can forget about. Listen, it's the FA Cup, it's a big competition. Liverpool should be in these competitions much further than the third round, but I'll be honest with you, I won't be losing any sleep over it, because it's not on our list of major targets this season. That is the Premier League, that is the Champions League as it stands. And listen, you know what, if Liverpool go on and have a good next 2-3 months and something, and then we're at the top of the table still fighting for that Premier League, we could be looking back on this thinking, I wonder if that was the blessing in disguise that we needed. Because to be honest with you, those backup players didn't cover themselves in glory tonight. And if it comes down to it later on in the season that Mo Salah, Roberto Firmino are able to play a few more games because they're not playing in the FA Cup, because we're not going for another trophy, then you never know. That could be the reason that we go on and achieve great things this season. Listen, if you've enjoyed the video, like the video. If you've agreed with me, disagreed with me, leave me your comments. Who was your man in the match? Leave me all that. I'll be back on the channel in just a little bit with the player ratings. They're not going to be great for the lads tonight, I'll be honest, but do subscribe, do like the video, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ra.